Hello, Homeworks members, and welcome to your 2024 district meeting. We're excited to have you logged on with us tonight. I'm Casey Phelan, and I'll be your moderator for tonight's event. Before we begin, let's quickly cover our meeting protocol so you know how to participate with us this evening. If you've attended virtually with us before, you know the drill. You can interact with us during tonight's meeting by using the simple buttons that pop up on your Zoom webinar screen. The first button is Raise Hand. You'll use this button anytime you'd like to make a motion or second a motion tonight. Next up is the chat button. You can type in the chat box if you'd like to make a comment, nominate yourself or another member for a position, or bring up any matters of business this evening. Third, the Q&A button is to be used if you have a question that you'd like to pose to our CEO, Chris O'Neill. Clicking on this button will bring up a box that allows you to type your question, which will then pass on to Mr. O'Neill for the Q&A session at the end of tonight's event. Our communications manager will be monitoring your comments and questions throughout the meeting, and we will be sure to follow up with you afterwards if any of your questions are unable to be answered during the live event. Back to voting. When it's time to vote on a motion this evening, your voting options will pop up directly on your screen for you. Simply click on the button representing the way that you would like to vote, and as the votes come in, the polling numbers will show up right there on the screen so everyone can see the results in real time. Moving on. Do you have your district meeting scratch-off card ready for tonight? You should have received it in the mail as long as you registered for this meeting by May 7th. We hope you'll join in the fun tonight by scratching off the different circles on your card when we tell you to throughout the meeting to see if you have a winner. If you have a winning card at the end of the night, you'll simply mail it back to us with your name and service address here, filled in by May 31st, and we'll verify it and apply your prize. You could win 1, 3, or 6 months of free Homeworks Connect fiber internet service or an equivalent bill credit on your electric account, just for playing along. We'll be back at different points throughout the meeting to tell you when to scratch off the different circles on your card, so keep your card on hand. Next, I want to remind you that you can follow along with some of the topics we discussed this evening in your digital district meeting booklet, which you should have received by email this afternoon. This helpful booklet can also be accessed at homeworks.org/D6booklet. And finally, as always, be sure to stay logged on until the end of this meeting so you don't miss out on the prize drawings that you were automatically entered into just by attending tonight. We have a lot of great items that we're excited to give away, but you must be present to win, so stay with us. All right, now that you've got down the basics, it's time to get started. Here to officially kick off tonight's meeting is your District 6 Director, Ed Opplinger. Good evening, Director Opplinger.
Hello, District 6 members, and welcome to your 2024 live stream virtual district meeting. It is great to have so many of you logged on this evening. Isn't it nice to be a part of a local rural electric cooperative where we have opportunities like this to come together and engage directly with our CEO and others who lead this unique organization? That's an important part of the co-op difference. Homeworks is locally owned by you and me and our neighboring members all across our rural mid-Michigan service footprint. You and I aren't just customers of Homeworks, we're members and owners, and we all have a say in the direction of our cooperative. As your District 6 Director, you have elected me to represent your interest on the board, and I thank you for entrusting me with that responsibility. When my fellow directors and I make decisions, we do so with your needs in mind, not to satisfy the financial goals of some faraway investors. But being a small, locally owned electric cooperative does not mean Homeworks isn't doing big things on the state and even national level. Did you know that in partnership with our power supplier, Homeworks is a state leader in providing you with power that is well over 50% carbon-free and 20% renewable, or that our CEO and his staff have played an important role in recent legislative advocacy efforts regarding electric grid reliability and rural broadband access, among other items. Of course, we all know that HomeWorks has been on the leading edge of providing quality broadband access to our members. Now, co-ops across the country are following suit and helping to fill a broadband gap for rural America. And perhaps most importantly for us, HomeWorks leads by example in providing us with power that is over 99.9% reliable and consistently outperforms our much larger neighboring investor-owned utilities in the Michigan Public Service reliability and service standards. CEO Chris O'Neill will talk more about these outstanding achievements during his co-op update in just a little bit. But first, we have our district's brief business meeting to conduct this evening. Our district includes HomeWorks members who reside in Clare and Isabella counties. Just over 5,200 of our co-ops, 23,000 members receive service in our district. I am currently wrapping up my fifth three-year term as your District 6 director. This will be my final term as I have decided not to seek re-election this year. I want to thank you for the honor of serving you as your director for the past 15 years. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time on the board of this great cooperative, and I am so proud to have HomeWorks' growth and important achievements over the past decade and a half. In addition to electing your board representative every 3 years, you also choose district officers this meeting each May and provide delegates to represent our district at our annual meeting in August. Our current district officers include District Secretary Rose Nedry of Edmore, who will conduct our business meeting in just a few minutes. Our district vice chair is Steve Recker of Rumas. Our district chair, Harry Tope, stepped down recently in order to run for our district seat on the board, leaving the chair position open to be filled this evening. Thank you, Rose, Steve, and Harry, for your service to our district. And thanks again to all of you for joining us here this evening to participate in the democracy of our co-op. Having engaged member owners makes HomeWorks a stronger cooperative. Now, please welcome CEO Chris O'Neill.
Thank you, Director Opplinger. District 6 members, welcome to your 2024 district meeting. I'm Chris O'Neill, your co-op CEO, and I want to echo Director Opplinger in saying that it is my great privilege and honor to serve you, and it is a responsibility that I do not take lightly. We are continually striving to develop new and innovative ways to serve you better, and you'll hear about some of those projects later tonight. I really appreciate that you've taken the time to join us tonight. It's your engagement and ownership that sets co-ops like HomeWorks apart from other utility companies. Now, I want to quickly highlight another thing that really sets co-ops apart, which is our community outreach. One of the most significant ways we try to reach out and help our local communities here at HomeWorks is through our Tri-County People Fund. Our People Fund has granted over $2.65 million to families and organizations throughout our service territory since 1993. As you know, our People Fund wouldn't be possible without those of you who voluntarily round up your monthly electric bill to the nearest dollar as part of Operation Roundup. And I want to sincerely thank each and every one of you who do so. Our People Fund board of 7 volunteer directors works very hard to make sure each grant request is considered with care. Here in District 6, your longtime People Fund director, Dick Donnelly, stepped down in March after 20 years of dedicated service to the board. I want to say that if there was a Mount Rushmore of HomeWorks folks, Dick's face would be on it. In addition to his work on the People Fund, he has volunteered as a district officer in his district for many years. He's just a heck of a guy and a great co-op supporter, and we're going to miss his insight and guidance on the People Fund board. Since your People Fund board seat is currently open, Director Opplinger will be asked to appoint a new volunteer director to fill that position. If you're interested in possibly becoming a candidate for that role, please contact People Fund Administrator Michelle Hoon using the contact info on the screen now. Speaking of the Mount Rushmore of Homeworks, I want to honor another person who would certainly be on that mountain, and that's our Electric Operations Manager, Chris Reed. I'm sure many of you know Chris. He is a tireless Homeworks ambassador who embodies the co-op spirit as much as anyone I've had the pleasure of working with. Chris has announced that he will be retiring in August after 36 years with the co-op, and we're sure going to miss him. Thankfully, he's been able to pass along his valuable insight and co-op knowledge to the longtime Homeworks lineman who will be stepping into his role, Mr. Ryan Smith. Thank you, Chris, for everything you've given to the co-op over the past 3+ decades. All right. Outside of the People Fund, we have a couple other community programs that help make a big difference locally. This year, we made a total of over $15,000 in Touchstone Energy classroom technology grants to several local classrooms to support innovative projects to help students learn. We also awarded a $2,500 Touchstone Energy College Scholarship to 5 very deserving high school students in our service area. And in June, we'll be sending 4 outstanding students from our local communities to take part in the Electric Cooperative Youth Tour, an all-expenses-paid trip to Washington, D.C. to learn important lessons about leadership, the co-op business model, and our great country's history. Another way we're able to impact our local communities this spring was through the matching grant program offered by one of our lenders, CoBank. With CoBank's help, we were able to donate $7,000 to the Barryton Mobile Food Pantry, $7,000 to the Mecosta Area Senior Center, and $6,000 to the Chippewa Hills Orchestral Society to support their important work in our service area. Like you, we're truly invested in continuing to make rural mid-Michigan an even better place to live. Thank you for helping us to make a difference in our communities year in and year out. Outside of the People Fund and our grant and youth programs, another way your co-op reaches out to our local communities is through our safety program. As you know, and as an electric utility, we know how important it is to provide information to our members and the public about how to stay safe around electricity and other products that we distribute. One way we do that is with our hotline demonstration trailer that we take around to local schools and events. If you're interested in talking to us about bringing our electric safety demo to your event, please give us a call. On the topic of safety, I do want to quickly touch on an unfortunate string of 14 incidents of gunshot damage to our transformers, regulators, and other electrical equipment that we've experienced over the past year, mostly in Clinton, Eaton, and Ionia counties. These incidents appear to be intentional, and we're working with the Michigan State Police and local law enforcement to investigate the situation. So far, these incidents have caused over $200,000 in damage to the electric system that you own. Of course, damage like this can cause safety and reliability issues as well, so we're very intent on putting an end to it as quickly and safely as possible. As such, we're offering a $10,000 reward to anyone who provides information that leads to the apprehension and conviction of the person or persons responsible for this damage. If you see or hear anything that could be of help in our investigation, you can report it anonymously through Crime Stoppers by calling 517-483-STOP or 517-483-7867. You can also report it to us or the Michigan State Police. Another quick update I want to provide, both regarding safety and reliability, is that we're currently wrapping up our testing and piloting of our new electric outage text notification program. With this offering, you'll be able to receive text messages when your power is out to update you on our progress throughout the restoration process. We plan to fully launch this convenient program by June 1st, so watch for more information to come. Something else I'm excited to announce is that we'll be hosting your district's park party on August 1st at Chippewa Waters Park in Mount Pleasant this year. We were overwhelmed by the response to these events last summer, and we really enjoyed the opportunity to meet with so many of you. We'll send out more details as the event nears, and we hope to see you there. Later in the summer, our annual meeting will be back at the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort in Mount Pleasant on Saturday, August 17th. If you opted to serve as an annual meeting delegate when you registered for this meeting, you'll receive the invitation in the mail in the coming months. All right, I'll be back with a brief pre-recorded operations update for you in a few minutes. First, we need to present you with the results of your 2024 director election. And then you need to hold your annual business meeting. You know that Director Oplinger decided not to seek re-election this year. He has served in our board since 2009, and we sure appreciate the time and passion he has put into the co-op and the valuable insight that he has provided over the last 15 years. We're really going to miss him. Director Oplinger will remain your director until the annual meeting of delegates in August, when your newly elected director will officially be seated. So now, with no further ado, here to provide your election report is our corporate counsel, Dan Templin. Good evening, Dan.
Good evening, Chris. Your district nominating committee this year consisted of your current district officers, Vice Chair Steve Recker and Secretary Rosie Nedry. This year, we offered a convenient electronic voting option to go along with our traditional mail-in ballot. To begin the election process, a notice was printed in the January issue of Country Lines magazine, informing members of the election for the Board of Directors seat this year. It also stated who the nominating committee is and what the qualifications are to serve as the director of the cooperative. The nominating committee accepted suggestions for qualified candidates from any member in the district. By February 5, the nominations had to be submitted to the office of the cooperative for verification. District 6 Director Ed Oplinger did not seek re-election this year, and Ed, we're going to miss you greatly. You've been an excellent addition to the board these last, 15 years. Your 2024 nominees were Al Davis of Wademan, MacArthur or Mark Griffiths of Lake Isabella, Dave Livermore of Wademan, Harry Tope of Lake, and Tim Wolf of Lake Isabella. The nomination report was posted in a public place at the cooperative offices so members could see the nomination. Nominations by petition were accepted until February 20th in case someone decided to nominate themselves or a neighbor. There were no nominations by petition this year. An email went out to members on April 4 announcing the opening of balloting and providing instructions on the electronic voting format. The nominations and candidate biographies were also published in the April issue of Country Lines, along with a mail ballot and an envelope addressed to an independent balloting firm. Members were told they could vote by mail before May 1st. Tonight, we have a sealed envelope with the balloting results provided by that independent balloting firm, and I will now announce the election results. I promised to announce the election results. Okay, here. This is hermetically sealed. Very important envelope, folks. The District 6 Director election results are as follows. Dave Livermore, 139 votes. Tim Wolf, 112 votes. MacArthur Griffiths, 95 votes. Al Davis, 92 votes. And Harry Tope, 65 votes. It's my understanding that Mr. Livermore is not present tonight. So at this time, I would turn the business meeting back over to the secretary, Rosie, and to hold your annual business meeting. Your district chair seat is currently vacant, and your district vice chair was unable to attend in person tonight. So District Secretary Rosie Nedry has graciously agreed to conduct this portion of tonight's proceedings. Good evening, Rosie.
Good evening, Dan. Thank you. I'm Rosie Nedry, and I have served as your district secretary for many years. Homeworks Executive Assistant Michelle Hoon has informed me that we do have a quorum with 188 member households in attendance tonight. Thank you for taking the time to log on. Let's start our business meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Moving on to our next agenda item, the notice of meeting, proof of mailing, and the 2023 minutes are on pages 4 and 5 of your district meeting booklet. I'm going to make a motion that we dispense with the reading of these and accept them as presented. Can I get a second? Our moderator tells me we have a motion and a second to accept the notice of meeting, the proof of mailing, and the minutes from our last meeting as presented. Please vote on this motion using the polling buttons on your screen now. Thank you. Motion carried. When you registered to attend this meeting, you were asked if you wanted to be invited as a delegate to Homeworks annual meeting in August. Those of us who signed up to serve as 2024 annual meeting delegates are listed on page 7 of your district meeting booklet. I move that we dispense with the reading of the delegates and accept the list as presented. Can I get a second? It's been moved and seconded to approve the delegates as presented. Please vote now using the functions on your screen. Motion carried. Mr. O'Neill, please come forward for the election of district officers.
Thank you, Rosie. First, let me remind you what your volunteer district officers do for your cooperative. The chair typically runs the annual membership meeting. The vice chair usually steps in if the chair is not available. The secretary typically reads the notice of mailing and calls for approval of the minutes from the previous year's meeting. Every 3 years, the officers also serve as the nominating committee when your district's board seat comes up for election. That was their job this year. Your district chair, Harry Tope, stepped down this year in order to run for your open director seat, leaving the chair position open. Now that the director election is complete, Harry has expressed interest in running for your district chair seat again. Is there a motion to nominate Harry Tope for district chair? We have a motion. Is there a second? We do have a second for the nomination of Harry Tope. Are there any other nominations for district chair from the floor? If not, let's go ahead and put your chair position to a vote now. Thank you. Harry Tope has been elected as your chair. Your district vice chair is Steve Recker. Is there a motion to nominate Steve for another term? We have a motion. Is there a second? Thank you. We have a motion and a second to nominate Steve Recker for district vice chair. Are there any other nominations for district vice chair from the floor? If not, let's go ahead and put your vice chair position to a vote now. Thank you. Steve Recker has been elected as your vice chair. Your district secretary is Rosie Nedry. Is there a motion to nominate Rosie to serve another term? We have a motion. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second to nominate Rosie Nedry as district secretary. During the registration process, Alea Vida also expressed her interest in running for secretary. Is there a motion to nominate Alea Vida? We have a motion. Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded to nominate Alea Vida. Are there any other nominations from the floor? If not, let's go ahead and put your secretary position to a vote now. Thank you. Rosie Nedry has been elected as your district secretary. Thank you to all of our candidates, excuse me. Now I'll turn it back over to Rosie.
Thank you, Mr. O'Neill. Is there any other business to come before this district? If not, I will accept a motion to adjourn. Moved and seconded. We are adjourned. Thank you. Now I'll hand it over to our moderator, Casey Phelan.
Thank you, Rosie. And thank you to all of our members who voted in our director election and in our business meeting tonight. Now we're going to move on to the co-op update portion of our meeting. But first, let's get your scratch off tickets out to scratch off the first section of your card. Okay, scratch off circle number 1 only and see if it matches the winning symbol shown on the screen now, which is an electric pole. If it does, you're off to a great start. If not, don't worry. I'll be back later to reveal the next winning symbol, and if you match any section throughout the evening, your card is a winner. Now, CEO Chris O'Neill has pre-recorded an informative update for you, and at the conclusion of that briefing, Chris will be back up here with me live and in person to answer your questions. Remember to use the Q&A box at any time during the video to enter any questions that you would like to pose to Chris. Now, sit back and enjoy Chris's co-op update.
Hello, Homeworks members. You've just finished up your business meeting, which is one of the reasons our bylaws call for us to hold these events each year. You and your neighbors own Homeworks Tri-County Electric Cooperative, and it's important that you have an opportunity to make your voice heard in our elections and other voting matters each year. Your co-op has been democratically run by the members since it was founded by a local group of farmers 87 years ago. And that still sets us apart from other types of utilities to this day. Beyond your business meeting, the reason I love our district meetings is that they give us a chance to give you real insight into the operation of your co-op. With other types of utilities, the relationship between the customer and the corporation is typically transactional in nature. You pay your bill each month and they provide you with service in return. And it doesn't go very far beyond that, right? It's different here at Homeworks because being a member-owned co-op, we seek more of a partnership with you. Of course, we're here to provide you with reliable electricity, but we also strive to get to know you and your communities so that we can advocate for you and discover new ways that we can work to enhance the quality of your lives. That's how our service, like Tri-County Propane and Homeworks Connect Fiber Internet, came to be. Those offerings were born out of the real conversations with you about the gaps you felt we could help fill in your communities. We truly are here to solely serve you, so we value any opportunity to give you a look at your co-op and to hear back from you on the ways we can serve you better. So let's get started. First off, I want to take a minute to recognize the 109 employees who make everything we do at Homeworks possible. For instance, did you know that just 24 Homeworks linemen keep the lights on for our nearly 24,000 members across our service footprint? Or that just 19 member service reps take care of the needs of our electric, propane, and fiber internet and phone customers who call in or stop into our offices each day. Across every department, we hire talented, caring, and hardworking individuals, and they work incredibly efficiently to provide you with customer service that is beyond compare. As your CEO, I couldn't be more proud of the extraordinary team we have serving you. Outside of their work in the office and in the field, our employees are doing great things in your communities as well. We told you last year about our employee community engagement program that recognizes employees for the volunteer work they do. Thanks to the generosity of our workforce, that program continues to grow. Can you believe that last year, our employees served a total of 4,814 volunteer hours throughout our service territory? Tri-County Propane Team Lead Trevor Wood was recognized as our 2023 Volunteer of the Year for serving an incredible 356 hours. And in total, 78 employees participated in the program. Even more than their talent on the job, I appreciate these employees for their genuine desire to make a positive impact on the lives of their neighbors in need. Cooperative Principle number 7 is concern for community, and I'm proud to come to work every day with a team of people who truly embody that value. Another cooperative principle is member economic participation. Because you are a member owner of Homeworks with a financial stake in the co-op, we strive to always provide you with an honest look at our operations and our financial status each year. You'll find a detailed financial report on pages 8 and 9 and 12 and 13 of your district meeting booklet. The co-op is continuing to grow slowly with a net of 248 new active meters in 2023. Due to mild weather conditions in 2023, energy sales were down, with a 4% decrease in kilowatt hour sales over 2022. While sales were down, our costs continued to rise, which, as you know, necessitated a rate increase in October, which I'll talk about more in just a minute. But with that increase and the successful long-term planning of our accounting team and our board, we're again able to keep our overall financial numbers strong, which is no small feat in these times. I'm proud to report that the financial status of both the cooperative and our subsidiary is healthy. I mentioned that you are a part owner of Homeworks. Did you know that means you get a share of our profits? That's right. Being a co-op member means that when we have operating margins, that money gets allocated back to you as capital credits based on your share of electricity purchases during the year. That allocation of margins helps to make up your equity in the co-op. Our bylaws call for us to use those funds as needed as operating capital for the cooperative. Then, during years that our board deems the financial status of the co-op will allow it, we retire some of our capital credits and return them to you, typically as a credit on your bill. So far, we have returned well over $24 million in member equity to you and your neighbors. In fact, you may have noticed a bill credit on your electric bill this past December when our board authorized a $750,000 capital credit retirement. Members who purchased energy from Homeworks in 1992 and or 2022 received the capital credit retirement. Capital credits are another obvious example of the co-op difference. Can you think of another service that you pay for where you receive equity and eventually cash back when the company turns a profit? It's not a common occurrence, that's for sure. And it's something we are proud to be able to provide to our members as a rural electric cooperative. We had another mild winter this year. So in March, our board decided to hold off until the fourth quarter of this year to determine if another capital credit retirement is viable based on our 2024 financials. Be sure to watch your Country Lines magazine for more info on that decision to come later this year. Okay, moving on to one of my favorite topics here at Homeworks, electric reliability. I'm thrilled to report that your power was once again over 99.9% reliable in 2023. Our power consistently hits that standard in a large part because of the investment we have made to continually harden our electric system against wind and storms. Our right-of-way program really does play a pivotal role in keeping your lights on by preventing outages before they occur. Tree trimming and tree removal is one of the things that we receive the most questions about from our members. So we put together a quick video that explains why and how we keep our right-of-ways clear. I think you'll find it very informational. Let's take a look.
The right-of-way is basically a corridor that we like to keep trees clear of the power lines. Depending on the type of construction of the power line, depends on the width. It's anywhere from 30 to 40 feet wide. Well, our 6-year cycle is based on the average growth of most trees in the area. If we clear our right-of-way to full specs, that'll give us enough time between clearings to ensure that our linemen can safely and efficiently make any repairs or do any maintenance, as well as keeping vegetation from encroaching on the power lines.
The reason we trim the trees is for safety and reliability. Trees are the number one cause of our power outages. Even with the 6-year cycle that we're on, they still are the number one cause. it's beneficial to be proactive so we can obviously prevent these outages before they happen.
So when we schedule our right of ways to be cleared, we send out postcards to every member that lives on that circuit, letting them know, contractor A will be in your area to clear the right of way. And we require our contractors to have a planner stop at each location that needs work, review the specs with the member, get a plan together with the member. Communication is the key to making this whole thing work.
When I talk to the members and try to explain, why it is we need to cut the trees, certainly safety and reliability are the first things that come to mind. No one likes to have their power off. Certainly, most people don't like to have the trees cut either, but they can understand the reason why we need to do it. The members expect reliable power just because our power is 99.9% reliable. And over the course of the years, that's increased because of our right-of-way program. So we're very proud of that.
I think our right-of-way program is a little bit different than, some investor owns, with our members owning the cooperative, it's everybody takes their part and they're more willing to work with us. The co-op has done a really good job of building trust with their members to make sure we're doing the right thing we can with their money. The big picture is it's the member system. We're member owned. The member owns the power lines, the poles, the transformers, everything that we want to keep clear, keep up, and keep operating as flawless as we can. It benefits them the most because they do own the system.
We know from past experience that keeping the right of way cleared is the most efficient and effective way to keep the lights on.
I hope that video gave you a little bit of insight into why we pay so much attention to keeping our areas around the electric lines clear of vegetation. Now, there's no denying the fact that the cost of maintaining a reliable electric system, like most costs in the current environment, continue to rise. Everything from the expenses of vegetation management to contractor and material costs significantly increased in price throughout the past year. To cover the costs while continuing to provide you with the superior reliability and service you've come to expect from us, it was necessary for us to increase our rates last October. For most rate classes, this increase was split between the kilowatt hour charge and our availability charge, which is the fixed portion of our bill. The availability charge is designed to cover the cost of maintaining a distribution system to serve you before you ever turn on your light switch. For most of you, as residential members, the availability charge increased from $31 to $33 a month, and the per kilowatt hour charge increased from 12.68 cents to 13.37 cents. For the typical residential member using 835 kilowatt hours per month, this resulted in 5.3% increase in your monthly electric bill. If you've been a HomeWorks member for long, you know that we strive to keep any rate increases as minimal as possible. After the October adjustment, our rates are still in line with or lower than the neighboring investor-owned utility, even though we serve a rural territory with far less density. As your CEO, I can give you my word that just as we have over the past 87 years, we will remain committed to keeping our rates competitive and making sure that your electricity remains a great value for you now and into the future. Speaking of the future, let's talk about our state's energy future, which is undergoing a significant transformation with the late 2023 signing of a comprehensive set of bills by Governor Gretchen Whitmer. The bills passed swiftly on party lines, with House and Senate Democrats comprising all of the support for the package bills. You may have heard that the first of these bills, Michigan's new 100% clean energy by 2040 target, stands among the most ambitious in the country. It will require all the state's electric utilities to employ a portfolio of 100% carbon-free resources by 2040, surpassing the rigor of even California's clean energy laws. Clean energy is largely defined as wind, solar, hydro, and nuclear. This legislation mandates utilities to procure 50% of their energy from renewables by 2030, escalating to 60% by 2035, a substantial leap considering the state currently stands at 16%. Starting in 2035, the renewable portfolio standard transitions to a clean energy standard requiring all utilities to obtain 100% of their energy from non-carbon emitting resources by 2040. Last fall, our power supplier, Wolverine Power Cooperative, made a monumental long-term commitment on behalf of Homeworks and other Michigan co-ops to purchase power from the Palisades nuclear power plant upon its historic restart. In their legislation, lawmakers recognize the Palisades plant as a vital reliability asset, allowing its output to count both towards renewable and clean energy targets as soon as it comes online. This is beneficial for Michigan Electric Cooperative members and underscores the significance of our Palisades power purchase agreement. Additionally, Homeworks and Michigan's other electric cooperatives already power members with over 50% carbon-free energy, placing us in a better position than many to meet the carbon-free requirements. Nevertheless, the bill overall is still a big lift for Michigan. We still have concerns regarding the pace of decarbonization and its impact on electric reliability and affordability. While we support investments in clean energy, we must also consider the operational realities. Constructing large-scale projects demands considerable time and financial resources, which makes the proposed timeline a challenge for the majority of Michigan's electric utilities. It's also estimated that utilities will need approximately 200,000 plus additional acres for wind and solar power generation to achieve the renewable energy targets in the legislation. We take legislative advocacy very seriously at Homeworks, and I have spoken in the state Congress on the need for a responsible transition that ensures our members and residents across the Midwest and the nation have the electric capacity to meet growing demands as we move toward a clean energy future. My staff and I will continue to engage our legislators and advocate on your behalf on this issue and other relevant matters affecting your communities. The second important bill of the new energy legislation mandates that electric co-op boards approve energy waste reduction plans and programs. Co-ops are now obligated under statute to submit a waste reduction plan to the Michigan Public Service Commission every 4 years. While this represents a more structured process compared to current co-op practices, through our legislative advocacy, we were able to achieve the authority of our local co-op boards to oversee these programs, which is a win for our members who enjoy the flexibility we have to customize our energy optimization programs to meet their needs. As you're probably aware, we're already ahead of the game here at Homeworks, because when the state mandate for energy optimization expired in 2021, we developed our own EO program to continue to meet the energy efficiency needs of our members. Our EO program offers cash rebates to our members who implement qualifying energy efficient measures at their home, farm, or business. In 2023, participating members earned over $210,000 in rebates and saved over 1.2 million kilowatt hours of energy. That's a win-win for our members and our carbon footprint. Anything from new light bulbs to upgraded appliances, HVAC systems, electric vehicles, and more qualify for this program. So I encourage you to visit homeworks.org/EO to learn what rebates you might be eligible to receive. While you're there, you might also want to take a look at our solar energy options. This is something a lot of members are asking about lately. And I want to let you know that we do offer a very robust renewable energy program. As a Homeworks member, you can take part in our community solar offering, our distributed renewable energy option, or our buy all, sell all program, and more. These options offer you different levels of participation in producing solar energy to power your home or business and to sell power back to the electric grid as a whole. If you're interested in learning more about these offerings, give us a call and our energy advisor, Nick Simon, would be glad to talk to you. All right, next up, let's talk about Homeworks Tri-County Propane. Can you believe this service is celebrating 25 years in business this year? In recognition of that significant milestone, we put together a video highlighting our propane team and the exceptional service they've provided to our customers for the past 2.5 decades. I hope you enjoy it.
Homeworks Tri-County Propane was founded in 1999 to bring propane service to our member customers in the rural area.
They partnered with another propane company and basically started with 2 customer service representatives and 2 service techs. And we've grown to over 4,300 customers and 13 counties.
We wanted to be a propane company that was different from others. So when we started the propane business, we actually treat our propane customers just like we do our electric members. We try to give them a service that we didn't have to pay extra fees, no hidden fees, the same price for everyone. So we wanted to be a little bit different and honest, upfront, a trustworthy company.
I think a lot of people switch to us because of reliability. We don't play into any of the pricing games. We don't charge any extra fees. When you get a delivery, you're paying for the delivery and tax, and that's it. One of the biggest things that we've done here that's helped our propane services has probably been our safety. I really think that we are probably the safest propane company out there. We're at the top in the state. I truly believe that.
So our customer service reps in the call center for our propane business have to be certified through the Propane Gas Association. So they know what safety standards have to be met and knows how to answer all the questions. If there's a gas leak, they can handle that and get that dispatched.
Our field personnel like to treat the customers just like the rest of the co-op, and they're part of the family. They're always willing to go above and beyond. Customers know they can count on us to provide safe, affordable, and reliable service all winter long.
So there you have it. Since 1999, our propane crews have done an exceptional job of delivering great value to customers in our area with dependable propane at competitive prices. At the same time, our experienced and highly trained propane customer service team has worked to provide superior service. We have grown over the years and now serve over 4,300 propane customers throughout our rural service territory. But what has remained is the way we provide propane with the same great safety, service, and reliability that you've come to expect from your co-op. If you don't have our propane service yet, we are offering a special district meeting deal to new customers for the month of May. So call us today and make the switch. Now I want to wrap up my update with some information on our rapidly growing Homeworks Connect fiber internet and phone service. I know many of you are connected to our network, and I hope you're enjoying the high speeds, unlimited data, and 24/7 service we are able to provide. Have you also started to take advantage of our new TechShield and MyBundle service? We have made it available to all subscribers at no additional cost. TechShield offers you added internet security and storage, while MyBundle helps you learn what streaming TV options are best for you. If you'd like to learn more about these services, visit our website or give our fiber team a call. We finished up our Homeworks Connect network build out to our entire membership last May. So I'm incredibly proud to say that every single Homeworks member across our rural footprint now has access to gigabit broadband service. We're up to nearly 12,000 internet subscribers and over 1,000 phone subscribers. And we're beginning to expand our network to non-member areas, such as the city of Portland. We're almost done building out our fiber network there, and the take rate amongst the residents so far is exceeding expectations. Expanding our network like this allows us to continue to meet our mission to provide quality communication services to the unserved and underserved in rural mid-Michigan, while also adding value to our electric members who subscribe to Homeworks Connect, as they will eventually see equity returned as additional capital credits when this business turns profit. As you know, quality rural broadband access has become even more vital than ever before over the past few years, and it's only becoming more of a necessity in day-to-day life. We're proud to be answering the need for members and non-members alike across rural mid-Michigan. Similar to electricity, the cost of providing reliable broadband service has risen quite a bit since we began building our network in 2018. We do not play pricing games with our HomeWorks Connect packages, and we have not increased our rates at all since the product was first launched. In fact, we actually doubled the speeds of our packages at no cost in 2021 to provide even more value to our subscribers. In the wake of the network outage we experienced earlier this year due to a data center failure, we've also invested significant resources into an enhanced broadband redundancy plan that has made our fiber service even more reliable. Currently, we're looking at how we can restructure our internet packages to offer greater subscriber value while adequately covering our rising costs. We'll provide more information on that to our subscribers later this year. If you haven't signed up for HomeWorks Connect yet, you can by visiting join.homeworksconnect.org to check out everything we have to offer. So that was a quick look at the past year of your co-op. As you can see, we've been busy, and it's been a productive year of exciting growth, change, and opportunity. Throughout the rest of the year and beyond, I can promise you that we will always maintain our commitment to providing you with safe, reliable, and affordable utility services that enhance your quality of life.
Thank you for providing that great update, Chris. I hope you all enjoyed hearing about some of the things we've been up to over the past year here at your co-op. Chris is back here with me live to answer some of your questions before we wrap up with the most exciting part of the night, our prize giveaways. But first, let's reveal the next symbol on your scratch-off cards. Scratch off circle number 2, and if it matches the propane cylinder symbol shown now, you're in luck. Whether or not you have any matches yet, keep that card handy because we'll reveal the final winning symbol after our Q&A portion. So now if you have a question that you'd like our CEO to try and address tonight, please type it in using the Q&A button. We received quite a few questions from attendees prior to tonight's meeting during the registration process, so Chris will begin with those. All right, starting with electric rates. Andrea and Shepherd asked why electric bills are currently high, and Donald and Shepherd also asked if there is any chance that electric rates could be reduced.
Yeah, so great questions. I think it's important to consider that the cooperative is a not-for-profit. Therefore, all of our electric rates are basically cost of service based, meaning whatever it costs us to serve members in different rate classes, that's what is reflected within our rates. And so, as you can imagine, our rates have gone up quite a bit since 2020. And if you go to the grocery store or the gas pump, you see the pressure on costs across the board throughout the economy. And the co-op is really no different. So we try to contain those rates as much as we can and be mindful of raising them. But at the same point, we want to ensure the priorities of the membership, and those are safety and reliability. So while our rates are competitive and in some cases better than the neighboring investor-owned utility companies, they are a reflection of our costs.
All right, thank you. Along those same lines, Brian in Lake asked what he can do on his end or if there's anything that we offer that could help make his electric bill cheaper.
So the programs that we offer through energy optimization are really the ones that will help you reduce your energy bill. And if you haven't visited our website or investigated those specific measures, we encourage you to. The things that will decrease your usage the most for a residential home are things like upgrading to energy efficient appliances and making investments into the building envelope. So think windows, doors, insulation. Those types of things move the needle when it comes to energy consumption. And when you're looking to lower your bills, that's where I would focus. And first, before doing so, I would encourage you to visit us on the web or give us a call regarding our energy optimization program.
All right, sticking with electric rates, Joel in Mount Pleasant asked where you see energy costs going in the next 5 years. And he then followed up by asking if you think geothermal is still worth installing as power costs keep increasing.
Yeah, so electric rates over the next 5 years, I think that the co-op is in a really good spot compared to other utilities in Michigan. And the reason I say that is that consider that about 68% of the bill that you get in your mailbox or in your email each month is made up of power supply. And so to the extent that we're able to restart the Palisades power plant, which it looks like it will, and run that for the next 5 or 30 years, that will by virtue stabilize your rates. We're in a lot better position to keep rates stable than other utilities who don't have reliable power supply going forward. As far as geothermal, I am very bullish on geothermal. I think it's one of the best renewable assets that the state of Michigan has. I think it will be in play for years to come. I think that as fossil fuels go up in price and or as they get squeezed by legislation or regulation, geothermal presents a really intriguing way to invest in your home.
All right, Brent in Mount Pleasant also asked about geothermal. He wanted to know the specifics of our dual fuel offering.
Yeah, so I did phone a friend on this one in all honesty. Our dual fuel program is part of our load management program. And essentially what we do here is we set a separate meter at the member's location, and that is specifically to measure the member's geothermal usage. We control the geothermal unit during peak periods, and in exchange for that control, we give the member a 3-cent discount per kilowatt hour on their use for that geothermal system. The dual fuel equipment is $260 up front, and interested members just need to call into our call center and fill out the dual fuel questionnaire to get things started.
All right, speaking again of geothermal, Diane asked why she is being charged a higher price because she has geothermal. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Typically, again, going through what I just answered in the last question, we give a discount on the geothermal rate, especially if it's metered separately. So if you're seeing an increased rate on your bill for your geothermal use, you need to give us a call and let us walk through what's going on with your energy bill.
All right. This is a good question about our free Smart Hub app, which is a great tool that we have that helps members manage their Homeworks accounts. Richard in Wademan asked where he can find out how to make sense of the usage graphs on his Smart Hub account.
Absolutely. Smart Hub is a great tool, and we, along with our software partner, are continuing to make investments in it to improve its functionality. I would encourage all the members that are watching this today to download the app and start using it to track your usage, pay your bill, etc., communicate with the co-op. There's a number of different functions within the app that are really advantageous. As far as the energy use graphs, if you have trouble interpreting those, feel free to give our billing and customer service department a call. They deal with that day in and day out. Also, if they can't answer it, certainly we have a well-qualified and staffed engineering department to assist any questions beyond what our billing or customer service teams can handle.
All right. Mark wants to know if capital credits are only determined by electric customers, or do they include internet customers as well?
It's a beautiful question. Capital credits include both electric and broadband, so they are allocated separately based on use. So if a member is using electricity and they're using broadband, they will get allocation of margins individually, for each one of those cooperative divisions. At this point in time, we haven't allocated margins in our broadband business because we haven't made margins quite yet. And we're hopeful to break even in the very near future here so we can begin to allocate margins first. Before you'll see an allocation, we have to offset the negative margins that the business has incurred over the first couple of years of its existence.
Great answer. Very complex topic. So back to Diane's question about geothermal. She elaborated a little bit.
Mhm.
She said she meant she is being charged more for her propane usage because she has geothermal.
Yes.
Can you speak to that portion?
I can, absolutely. So the propane minimum use or rental fee that we charge customers is based on essentially business solvency. So the cooperative has an investment at individual locations as far as the propane tank, and we need to at least recover that cost of making that installation of the propane tank and operating the business and all the expenses that go along with that. When we set a tank that doesn't get used, that's where we have trouble with the business being solvent. So we recover that through a annual rental fee. And I think that's what you're referring to. Typically on geothermal, though, we will give some latitude to the member on that. So if you have that specific issue, you need to give us a call. We can chat through that.
All right. So just a little note, if you want to learn more about Smart Hub and all of our account and billing options, you can visit homeworks.org/account. All right, moving on to a follow-up question about the energy legislation, which you mentioned briefly in your co-op update. Chad and Wademan asked what our plans are for the future with the state and federal government and other utilities such as Consumers Energy committing to carbon-free energy and no coal.
Yeah. So the co-op is in a really good spot. We have through our power supplier, which we own 20% of, Wolverine Power Cooperative, which is a generation and transmission cooperative. We have a purchase power agreement through the Palisades Power Plant for the next 30 years. And so we're going to bring that online. We're hopeful in 2026 to bring that online. And that will account for a large portion of the co-op's energy supply needs. We also have some solar and some wind PPAs, purchase power agreements, that we'll use to make up the rest. So we'll have the ability to be 100% carbon free well before the rest of the market. And we already have a head start, as we discussed earlier. A lot of the other utilities in the state are going to have trouble meeting that. And two primary reasons why. First, technology. The renewables are variable sources. And so the technology to store a variable source and dispatch it during peak periods is still in its infancy, and it's not quite ready for prime time. So I really question whether we can get to 100% across the board in Michigan by 2040 because of the advancement of technology and where we're currently at. The second issue is transmission, and specifically transmission into the Lower Peninsula. Right now, the Lower Peninsula only has 2 transmission ties. We max those ties out most times, and Michigan is actually an importer of energy for 90% of the time. So if we can get additional transmission feed or capacity into the Lower Peninsula of Michigan from places like out west where renewable wind is very cheap, then we do have a chance of meeting those 2040 targets. But some things have to fall into place in order for that to happen.
All right. A little bit more on these legislation things. So Rob and Mary asked, how does the propane service in its future, based on the new green energy laws, how does that all fit together?
So propane is not contemplated within the energy laws at this point. Home heating has been largely left alone. This is mainly focused on power supply. And so that isn't in play quite yet. And I'm not sure that realistically it can be at this juncture. Part of the issue that Michigan has is we can't keep up with existing demand currently. And our ability to import is constrained by only a couple transmission ties. So the reality that we're going to replace fossil fuels for home or business heating in favor of electric without having adequate supply while making the energy transition, I think is probably a non-starter if you really start to do the math.
All right. Another question on energy legislation.
Mhm.
Donald says he believes that the current path to all green will guarantee significant increases in energy costs in the future, as it has in the past. He is wondering what alternatives he and the other customers or members have to counteract the legislation that's going on in Lansing.
I think that they have written in certain off-ramps in the legislation, and cost being one of the key considerations in the off-ramp. So the authors of the legislation, who we've interacted with quite often and advocated for positions regarding reliability and affordability, they're very aware that there may be issues along the way where we don't see the advance of technology in the way that we would hope to see. And so there are off-ramps where we can sort of kick the can on the carbon-free deadlines dependent upon certain factors. When it comes down to the co-op, I believe that your rates will remain stable and principally because of what we've done with Palisades, ensuring that you have a 30-year supply of non-carbon emitting power supply. That's very important and it'll be key in maintaining costs going forward.
All right,
I
thank
hope
you.
that answered the question.
Yeah, that did. There's just a lot there with the energy legislation, I think. Kind of on the same vein, but a little bit different. Talking about renewables, Carl and Blanchard asked if we have an expert on board with knowledge of current regulations regarding adding solar panel systems to homes.
Absolutely. Yeah. We have two individuals that are specialized in this, and that is Brandon Treeweiler and Nick Simon. So if you call our office, you can ask specifically questions of them. If it's something even greater in technical nature, we have a whole department of engineers that will be happy to help discuss solar options with you, battery storage, anything that you're contemplating, and they'll provide you information in a non-biased way.
All right, again, with the new renewable energy theme, our district secretary, Rosie from Edmore, thought that it would be helpful to hear a little bit more on the home and solar and wind options that we offer to our members.
Yep. So wind, we don't really have an offering because wind we don't see at the residential level the way that we see solar, and that's principally due to zoning and affordability. On the solar piece, we actually have 3, soon to be 4 different options for members to participate in solar with the co-op. The first is what's called community solar, where if a member doesn't want to make an investment, a large capital investment at their location, they can simply purchase a solar panel that the co-op has in one of its various community solar developments, and they can get that solar energy credited to their bill each month. Members who do want to make solar investments at their location have a couple different options going forward. One is our net metering or DRE program. That is for smaller, think 20 kW and smaller arrays. There is also a large array, what's called a buy all, sell all. And that typically applies to larger arrays that are in excess of 1 megawatt. We are going to develop a tariff and ask for board approval for a solution that sits between that 20 kW and 1 megawatt offering, which essentially is called a large self-supply offering. And that allows members to use larger solar arrays at their location and also sell up to 10% back at current market or average market rates.
All right, you can learn more about our renewable energy offerings at homeworks.org/renewables, but we do have a couple more questions regarding these. So sticking with that solar, William wants to know that if we use solar on the power supply side, I believe, what then happens to the land after the solar panels degenerate?
So typically with the solar arrays, you have a zoning ordinance, and if you have a purchase power agreement with a third party, an ordinance that requires the cleanup and removal of anything that's decommissioned. So in the event that we would abandon a certain location for solar renewable energy, we would have a burden of removing and restoring that site according to zoning and according to any third-party agreements that we have.
All right, another question about renewables. Jay asked, what about using hydroelectric in place of all of the wind turbines and solar panels?
Hydro is, especially in the state of Michigan, is one of the most expensive and riskiest renewable investments that can be made at utility scale. And there are major issues with trying to ensure hydroelectric generation because of some breaches of dams that have occurred in recent history. And it's very expensive to maintain those over time. And that's one of the reasons why you see certain investor-owned utilities who own a lot of hydroelectric generation trying to sell that as much as they possibly can.
All right, Sarah is a new member and she is wondering if the wind turbines and new solar panels along Route 127 are part of our co-op's energy resources.
They are not. They are not part of the co-op's energy mix.
All right. Again, if you want more information on our renewables, you can go to homeworks.org/renewables. So we're going to now move on to our EO program. Marie from Lake Isabella asked if you could please explain the energy optimization cash rebates that we will offer for things like Energy Star, appliances, electric vehicles, and energy efficient home upgrades.
So what the energy optimization program is it's a continuation of a state mandated program that ended in 2021. And it takes that program, what we call the best of that program, without the regulatory cost associated with the filing to the Michigan Public Service Commission, and it offers rebates to members to try certain technologies. And so those technologies help reduce energy waste. They also help incentivize and or let members try on for size fuel switching measures. And so we have a lot of really kind of inventive things that are in there for members to try. Certainly those are at members' discretion, but there are things in there that can help you with lowering your energy cost and also trying on different fuel switching measures.
To learn more about our energy optimization program, which we refer to as our EO program, visit homeworks.org/EO. All right, now we're on to tree cleanup. So Daryl in Mount Pleasant mentioned that some tree debris was left on his property after one of our tree crews came in and removed and trimmed trees. Can you talk a little bit more about the cleanup portion of our vegetation management program?
Yeah, absolutely. So during the course of what I'll call normal right-of-way clearing and maintenance, when we remove vegetation that is in the easement, that is in the line and or threatening it, we will come and remove that and chip anything that is 4 inches in diameter and smaller. So we'll chip that and remove it. The wood that is larger than 4 inches in diameter is considered the member's personal property along with the stump. So we'll leave that for those individual members to dispose of in the way that they see best. I get a lot of questions about why we don't remove the wood and remove the stumps. And this has been a historical practice of the cooperative to not do that, because should we begin to incur those costs, those will directly affect electric rates. And members decided long ago that instead of paying each other and subsidizing each other for stump and wood removal, that individual members would handle those based on that it's their personal property. And so I say that with one caveat, which is during outage restoration, the vegetation is removed and generally it is left because those are considered emergency situations. And we try to restore power as quickly and efficiently and safely as possible. So removing vegetation at that point that has been cut out of the right of way, which caused an outage, isn't typically done.
All right, thank you. That was a very thorough answer. Talking about Homeworks Connect, our high-speed fiber internet network, Karen in Blanchard would like to know if she can get her electric and internet bills to be due at the same time.
We did check on this. We don't currently offer it right now. We bill our electric in 4 different cycles, and we bill all of our internet customers once each month. So at this time, we don't offer it. I won't say that we never will, but at this time, it's not an option.
All right. Diane and Wademan asked if we were doing anything to lower the cost of our high-speed Wi-Fi.
Yeah, so I think what we're talking about here is our internet, but internet and Wi-Fi, 2 different things. Just want to make sure that all of our members understand that. And both of those products are priced at a current market along with our trying to cover our current costs. So very much in the vein of discussing electric rates, the broadband business needs to run at cost of service. And we haven't quite made it there to break even on our net income, but that's what we're striving for. And so trying to reduce those at this point isn't quite an option because we need to make sure that that business can carry its own weight.
Perfect. This was touched on a little bit in your co-op update, but Leah and Remus asked to hear more about the internet outage we had earlier this year caused by a data center failure and the specific enhancements we have made since then to reduce the chance of such outages occurring in the future.
Great question. So as many members know, the co-op prioritizes affordability, but it really prioritizes reliability and safety. And so this was particularly concerning in January when we had the data center issue. And we've taken some comprehensive steps since. So really a 3-layered approach, if you will. 1, we have invested in additional redundancy on our local distribution network. So we're creating loop loops in our network with the help of our power supplier, Wolverine, using their fiber optic. In addition, we have installed redundant transport to a second geographically diverse data center. So essentially what we're going to be left with is multiple loops within our distribution network to take care of any outages there. And then we'll be left with two geographically diverse data centers, both having transport that's redundant to them. So we feel really good about being able to prevent that exact situation from happening again.
All right, thank you. Stanley asked about how Homeworks Connect internet packages compare to what Spectrum offers, both cost-wise and speed-wise. I'm thinking maybe you could talk a little bit about how we compare to competitors and what we do to provide value beyond that to our members.
Yeah. So first and foremost, we don't play the price game. There's no introductory rate. There's no bait and switch here. The co-op's rates are cost-based and they're honest and they're upfront. Secondly, we offer what I believe to be a superior product, not only from a customer service perspective, but technically, meaning their networks are typically copper in nature, which have higher latency. They have also an issue where they share bandwidth among the homes that are connected versus our optical network, which doesn't do that. And so those are some of the key ways that we differ. And I think that many members have switched to us and have actually saved money because after the introductory rates go by the wayside, our rates are still very stable.
Yes, and we do definitely compare all of our packages and prices regularly to make sure that we are in line with what our competitors are offering and try to provide extra value there. So it's something we're constantly evaluating. So now switching gears away from Homeworks Connect.
Mhm.
Glenn in Farwell has a question about our Homeworks districts.
Yeah.
He asks why District 6 has just one seat on our board when the district has more members than several of the other districts.
So this is not really a question of the CEO or of management. It's really a question of the membership and of the board specifically. Do the members want to go down a path of redistricting? And is that something that their board wants to invest time and money in? And I think it's ultimately a question for the members and their representatives on the board versus a staff or a management issue. We're happy to assist in that. It's just not something that we drive.
All right. We had an attendee ask about having district meetings again in person. Is that something that we would ever consider?
So it's not that we would never consider it. We have done a lot of things around trying to meet different demographics needs. And so currently what we're seeing at district meetings is we're seeing greater attendance, record attendance in almost all of our districts so far. We're doing it at cheaper costs. We have greater democratic participation, and it's much less laborsome for staff, and it requires a lot less staff to do. So all of the indicators point to continuing to do virtual district meetings because the data says that's what we should do. That being considered, we do and have developed other options for members to engage with the co-op who prefer face-to-face. And those are our upcoming park parties and also our annual meeting in August. Those are two in-person events that we'd love to see members at. And we've developed them specifically with those in-person interactions in mind.
All right. Talking about park parties, another attendee asked why we have our park party during the day, during the week. He says that the working class person can't go to it when it's during the day.
Yep. So it's very much to get a different demographic. We are typically targeting demographics that are younger. So young families attend those park parties mainly. Also retirees. That's kind of the demographic that's being targeted with those. And so we have other options like this meeting to engage with the co-op and also our annual meeting in August as another in-person opportunity to engage with the co-op. And of course, if members have questions, they're always more than welcome to call our office, chat with staff, or chat with myself.
Absolutely. In a follow-up to the capital credit portion of your co-op update, Patricia asked, were 1992 and 2022 the only time for capital credits? And how does that capital credit retirement rotation work?
So board policy that we currently have in place is a 25-year rotation of capital credits. We do, instead of doing a first in, first out, we do a mixture. We do an 80% of the last year that we have for retirement, and then we do a 20% of the current year. That way, we're still taking care of historical capital credits, but we're also showing current members and new members the difference of a co-op. So when you shrink down our capital credits, we're actually roughly 20 years in as far as where we're at in retirement currently. So we're certainly ahead of that, and we look forward to continuing retirements as long as it's financially viable and the board deems that it's appropriate.
All right, we just have a few more questions left. So Marie asked, how do we increase transmission lines in Michigan to better import power sources?
So two different ways. One, you need to build a new transmission line, or two, you need to increase the capacity of the existing transmission. The one issue that you have with the existing transmission and simply increasing the capacity is the two feeds are generally in the same geographic area. And so, for instance, if you were hit by a significant storm in that area that damaged both of those transmission feeds, it would be very problematic for the state of Michigan and its energy needs. One thing that we've put forward as Wolverine cooperatives is what's called the Lake Michigan Connector Project, which is a high voltage DC line that would actually go under Lake Michigan to provide us an alternate path by which to have transmission supply into the lower peninsula. And we think that is a really good solution. It provides geographic diversity and it adds capacity.
All right, last question for the night. Bo asked, how will our new PPAs affect the electric rates for the co-op moving forward?
Yeah, so we have essentially 30 years worth of PPA once that comes on, and we have a flat rate with one escalator within that agreement, meaning that your electric rates on the power supply side will be well known for a long time, and they will be very comparable to where you're at today. Yeah, there is nobody in the state of Michigan that can say that. And so it's something we're really proud of, and we're working very hard to make sure that that plant comes back online as safely and quickly as possible. And I'll also note, I know there's some members that have expressed concern about that plant coming back online. And I think you'll be happy to know that that plant achieves the highest level of Nuclear Regulatory Commission safety standards. And so it's one of the cleanest plants that many of the NRC folks and also a third-party auditing firm have seen. So we're really encouraged by the prospects of that restarting and the implications that it'll have for members' electric rates well into the future.
All right, thank you for those wonderful answers, and thank you all to people who asked questions. That's all we've got.
Thank you so much for the questions. If I didn't get to your question, please know that we've noted it. We'll contact you and follow up with you individually to address your concern. To conclude, let me say thank you to all in attendance at your virtual district meeting tonight. Congratulations again to new District 6 Director Dave Livermore for being elected as the next director. Thank you to all the candidates also who have interest in the co-op and pursued election. We're looking forward to seeing everybody at the park party in August.
All right, now it's time to reveal the final winning symbol on your scratch-off card and give away some big raffle prizes. For that, we'll pass it over to Executive Assistant Michelle Hoon and Manager of Employee and Member Engagement, Angel McCliggett. Good luck.
Thanks, Casey and Chris. Okay, let's reveal the last symbol of your scratch-off card. Grab your card and scratch off circle number 3 to see if it matches the symbol shown on the screen now, which is an internet globe with a mouse arrow.
Okay, now that we have revealed all the sections, look to see if your card matches any of the symbols on the screen. If it matches one symbol, you win 1 free month of Homeworks Connect service or an equivalent bill credit. If it matches 2 sections, you win 3 free months. And if you were a lucky winner to match all 3 sections, you'll receive our grand prize of 6 free months of Homeworks Connect service.
That's a good deal.
That is a really good deal.
Just send your winning card into the address shown on the card by May 31st, and we'll apply your prize to your account. And if you're listening on the phone and can't see the screen to see if your card matches our winners, you can just send it in to us and we'll check to see if you're a winner. Congrats to all of our winners.
Okay, Moving on to what we know is your favorite part, the raffle drawings. We have randomly selected our prize winners tonight from the list of those who are in attendance this evening. Let's get started.
Okay, the first prize that we're going to give away this evening are $25 bill credits. We're going to give away 4 of those. First winner is Shirley Bailey. Then we have Carrie Weedmark, Robert Wright, and Nancy MacArthur.
Okay, next up, we have 2 $50 bill credits, William Butler and Norma Horn.
Then we have some grilling accessories that we are going to give away this evening. First one is a grilling accessory kit. And the winner of that prize is for Shelley Bauman.
And next up, we have the Amazon Echo Show for David Block.
And then a Sony compact wireless speaker. That winner tonight is William Vogel.
And next is the wireless noise canceling earbuds for Ryan McKellar.
And then also a smokeless indoor grill, if you prefer to grill inside instead of outside, if the weather is bad.
Like today.
Yes. And that winner is Edward Ryle, I believe.
That was a hard one.
It was.
Okay, next up is a Bluetooth meat thermometer for William Hole.
And next is a 20-pack backpack Arctic cooler. That is for Vicki Robinson.
And the best prize we think, I'm thinking,
Yes.
is the wood fire pizza oven. Goes to Emily Wolf.
We also try to support local, and so we have 2 $50 gift cards that we're going to give away this evening. The first one is to the Hometown Diner in Wademan, and the winner of that gift card is Mackenzie Johnson.
And next we have a $50 to the Pines in Lake Isabella for Dana Hatfield. I haven't tried either one of those.
I haven't either, but
Yeah.
I'm sure they're both very good.
They sound delicious.
Yes, yes. You can try them. You can try them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in honor of 25 years of Tri-County Propane, we have a filled 20-pound propane cylinder that you can use to grill or whatever. And the winner of that is for Rita Mitchell.
Okay, and that's it for our prizes this evening. Thank you so much for attending, and we hope you enjoyed your district meeting. If you want a bill credit this evening, it will be placed on your account in the coming days. If you want a gift card, we will mail it to you. And if you want another prize, we will be calling you to make plans to get it to you.
Thank you all for attending. Have a good night.
Have a great night.